All right. Okay. I think if we're lucky, everything will work just fine for us this week. We'll have to see. Let's give it a second to kind of start up, and that way I can kind of get verification from everybody, make sure that we are working the way that we need to be. Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and get loaded up. Let's go into the Candyland. Let's see. It's funny, so technically never worked a day in your life. That is a sad, sorry existence. I'm just gonna kind of go through and organize things really quick. You guys won't see anything, but gonna load this in. Worse than anyone could possibly imagine. I feel sorry for you. I feel sorry for you. Let's see. All right. But how you doing? All right. Okay. So, by way of starting off, let's start off by kind of recapping kind of what it is that we did last week. Okay, I blocked in a couple of pieces, namely the Oreo Zen platform. We also went through and blocked in a bit of a bridge. I've since also gone through and found some cool reference. I'll have to modify my scene so that I can show you what is kind of like what I've been pulling together. So let's go ahead. I'm just gonna transition. Okay, and then let's jump over and we'll grab internet. Okay. Cool. Okay, it is showing up. Sweet. So to kind of jump in and see some of the research that I've pulled up recently, things that I found actually while doing real work. Let me see if I can find what it is that I was thinking about. Well, so I found some cool stone walkways, and it's really like a ton of cool stuff. But I want to bring in some of these ideas, not all of them, but some of them, into what I'd like to do with this environment. So it looks like I can't even find the ones that I was really excited about. Maybe it didn't save them all. Oh, that's just not cool. That is not cool. That's just so not cool. Let me see. Yeah, because I mean, I saw some really cool pathways that were just these cool, like they were tightly, pegadito to the mountain. You know, it's like just kind of flat, tight against the mountain. That's what I was looking for, tight against the mountain. And it was super, super neat. So I mean, there are things like this, which is pretty cool, but this isn't quite what I was seeing. It's kind of neat. I'll save that. The reason I'd really like to be able to see these stairs. Now let's get. Do I have that? I don't think I have that. I'm gonna save that because I could use that for work. Man, okay. Yeah, looks like we got some people trickling in now. Oh man. Oh man. Okay. Yeah, anyway, maybe I'm not gonna find it. But it was cool. Let's have to take my word for it. It's really, really cool. Dang it. Oh well. So we'll just go ahead and call it good now. So, jumping back over into the ZBrush, you know, I just want to be able to kind of keep some of those things in mind. I've got my little my little chocolate mountain guy. Before he was called like Gloppy or something like that. It's kind of funny. But yeah. So, how's everybody doing? How's everybody doing? It is a really large Oreo. So the idea behind this environment is to go through and make something relatable to this world, something fantastical, and something, you know, just fun and conceptual at the same time, but something that is related to Candyland. And so the Oreo is going to be kind of related to to Candyland and making it feel like it's made out of candy. So, you know, I'll be looking for feedback and suggestions as we go. You know, just having fun with it. This is what this session's all about, is coming in, just having fun. So let's go ahead, let's get started. Okay, traditional sculptor, Kairos on YouTube saying, I'm a traditional sculptor. What's work like knowing 3D ZBrush? Is there a lot of work, full-time jobs? Yeah, so everything, you know, in my experience, people seem to be going more toward digital and leaving traditional behind in a lot of ways, not in every way. A lot of places, a lot of people will still go through and use traditional ways of being able to produce things. Like you'll still have foundries doing molding and casting. There will still be really all sorts of things to sculpt and do traditionally, but ZBrush has really been revolutionizing the way that a lot of things are done. So it's become industry standard in a lot of different places, including jewelry, including prototyping for products or clothing, or, you know, all sorts of things. Rethon, how you doing? Man, still, it just gets to me how early you get started in the morning, dude. It's just, that's something else. Not a bad thing. Not a bad thing. In fact, it's actually quite a good thing. But, you know, whatever. Yeah, everybody has their schedule. So let's see. What do I want to do with this? Let's go So what I want to do, I need to make sure that I can pull this section down. So let's do this. This will be simple. Let's come over here to masking. We're going to mask by feature. I'm just going to hit mask by border. Okay. And what that's going to do is it's going to mask the open edge all the way around. And if I can control tap on the empty space, now I've got this over and then clip it. This transpose line, if you haven't used it yet, you are seriously missing out. And this is one of my favorite tools to use from the old ZBrush. Yeah, 4 a.m. Yeah, and that's the trick. Yeah, so Zach works at the feature animation side. You know, working as a supervisor on characters and things like that. I actually work on the parks side, which means that I'm doing stuff for Disneyland Tokyo at the moment. You know, that could change sometime in the future. I'm not sure yet though. But yeah, there's a possibility that could be changing at some point soon. My contract there is ending like May. Okay, so one of the things I'm going through and I'm deciding, I think I want to make this tree maybe twice as big, and I want to change the change the shape a little bit. So maybe have it so that it's pointing, like it's coming up and over and out over this way. Do I have experience with 3D scanning? With CT 3D scanning? I'm not sure what, like, are you referring to CT as in, you know, like a CAT scan? Because I don't have experience with that, but I do have experience with a little bit with photogrammetry, and processing 3D scan data to make sure that it can be, you know, worked and used and producible. That's kind of a crazy. Yeah, so Attaboy was a fun little thing to work on. The work that we've done on it so far, it's really pretty simple. Oh, it's freezing on me. Oh, okay, there we go. It's more kind of just like in a concept, proof of concept phase. And so, you know, he and I were going through and trying to figure out some of the, you know, how things would look, to be able to develop out the characters in the lineup for like an entire series, sort of. Man, this is going slow. Let's see. Well, it's funny too, because it's like it's going through and it's creasing everything. I'm going to uncrease. Uncrease all. Let's hit solo. I think it's having a hard time because it's trying to think of it along with everything else. But yeah, that's interesting though, that you can go through and you can use CT scanning for 3D scanning. I'll have to go and look into that a little bit. I mean, it'd be expensive for me to go to the doctor and say, hey, could you give me a CT scan? I need to test some 3D scan technology. But, 'cause, I mean, I've had CT scans done before, and that was painful. Financially, you know, it gets kind of expensive. Okay, here we go. I'm just gonna turn off. some of this. I mean, it should be like disappearing more than it's staying. It's just kind of funny. Yeah, scanners do cost a fortune. So with Zach, it might be best. I mean, if you're interested in trying to help develop some of those ideas that he was talking about in his presentation, yeah, he'd probably be willing to talk to you about it. I mean, I would, if you remember from the presentation, there was a website called Story Mold. Let me pull that up. Actually, let's do storymold.com. And yeah, you can come in here and you can start to, contact him through these. in order to sign up, you can sign up for free, and you can essentially go through and link it to your Facebook profile. So it's really easy to remember how to sign in. But yeah, and then there's an opportunity down here. I mean, you can see there are some collaborators' names. So my name is, well, my user's named. You can see different tier levels for supporting. Yeah, the Police Navidad was my favorite. I loved that idea. It says, create a campaign to collaborate on this project. So you have to go through, create your profile, create a campaign, which is essentially what this is, and then be able to, connect with him that way. You have other ways to be able to connect with him as well. So I would go through and reach out to him that way if you're interested in trying to collaborate in that sort of project. It's a good opportunity. Okay. How can I disable the brush settings with the right mouse button? Disable the brush settings with the right mouse button. I might need a little more explanation on what you're trying to figure out with that one. And I apologize, my Russian's worse than your English is really good. Okay, your English is awesome. I can't begin to read Russian, so I apologize. I don't know. You with the comment. I feel like it's really kind of chugging along today. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. Because this is kind of driving me nuts, I'm gonna come over. Let's just Dynamesh this. Turn the blur down. I'm guessing the resolution of 128 is going to be way too high for what I need. Ooh, it's freezing. Let's see what it does. Oh, look at that. 2.5 million points. So not as bad as I thought it was going to be, but still way too dense. So I'm going to take this down to like 32. Hit Dynamesh again, and we'll see how that goes. The best candy, since we're doing a Candyland theme. And that's a good question. Everybody needs to answer that one. What is the best candy since we're doing Candyland themed? Oh, that got way denser even then than I wanted. Let's see if that works. On a Honda project. I do love jelly beans. I love jelly beans and gummy candies. Chocolate's always pretty good, you know. I like chocolate. This is something I want to play with. Let me see what this does. Let's do that. Just to see what it is that it does. It doesn't seem like it. I was hoping that it would be something to be able to get a better resolution. Let me see. There should be a Dynamesh master. I think that's an extra one that I have to download. Oh well. Let's just come in and we'll decimate it real quick because it doesn't need to be this dense for what I'm doing. Being boozled. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I don't know that I'd ever want to. I mean, I tried the Birdie Bots beans that they made for Harry Potter. Those were terrible. They had some really terrible flavors like boogers and barf and pepper and I don't know, all sorts of really just weird flavors that never deserved to exist. Yeah, Sculptris Pro is definitely slowing down my machine. It doesn't usually do it this bad though. Okay, oh, so one of the things that I did, I went to the store, since it's trying to decide whether or not it wants to actually come to work today. I got a £1+ bar of chocolate from Trader Joe's. If they want to sponsor my chocolate addiction, I could be alright with that. Yeah, so check this out. So I bought this so that I'd have some good reference for chocolate shape and chocolate color, for chocolate texture, to be able to see kind of how it, you know, like in the break, how it's not very glossy, but then up here it's really glossy, like where it came out of the mold or where it was flat. It's not nearly as glossy where it was flat, like on the bottom side, as it was when it was in the mold. But it's pretty cool. Yeah, big bar of chocolate. It's probably about a kilo of chocolate. Oh, half kilo. 500 grams. Yeah. Cream-filled strawberry pencils. That must be a UK thing. Come on, ZBrush. Get your motors turning. I thought for sure that, like, after talking about the chocolate that it'd be done. It is still working, and we can tell that it's still working because up here in the top left corner it says mountain reordering, and then it has these ellipses kind of going through. It's working. So let me see. For the sake of being able to occupy this time in the best possible way, let me see. Is that the strawberry pencils? Yeah, there we go. Oh, I've had sweets like that before. A 100 pack for £9. Whoa. The worst kind of candy that isn't meant to taste horrible. That's a tricky one. There's... Okay, so I can't remember which one is which. Down in Chile, there are these series of chocolate-covered cookies, like wafer cookies, like long bars. There's one called Quilombo. Okay, I hit abort on the thing just because it was just killing me. Just killing me. Okay, let's try that. And then... Anyway, so there was Quilombo, there was Super Ocho, and there was... I can't remember the name of the other one. Quilombo, I'm pretty sure, was the one that I really, really liked. Let's do this. I want to get rid of all the little floating islands. So I'm going to come over, modify topology, delete hidden. Just kind of smooth out some of these spots. See, it's working so much better now. I don't know what the deal is. Oh, the worst kind of candy. It's the wasabi Kit Kat from Japan. I don't know if you've ever tried them, but those are terrible. Wasabi does not deserve to be in a candy. So if you're either from Japan or really love those candies, that's great. You're entitled to be able to have that sort of opinion. But I'm also entitled to my opinion, and it's a terrible candy. Yeah, it's like it's not spicy. Oh no. The wasabi one's actually good. The matcha, the green tea ones, those were the bad ones. Yeah. Yeah, the green tea. So, whatever. And it's funny because it's like you wouldn't think. I mean, it's just tea, but it's it tastes terrible. I tried the I don't know, it just had like this bitter taste to it. The it's funny. I'm sorry I said the wasabi ones were bad. The wasabi ones actually had a little bit of like the flavor of the wasabi, but it didn't have the bite. It didn't have like the spiciness, you know? So it was actually kind of good. I mean, it took me a couple of bites to really kind of get accustomed to it, or really kind of be okay with it. But there's this other kind of candy, comes from Mexico. I don't know what it is, but it's got like this. It's covered in sesame seeds, and really strange flavor. It's not one I was ever able to get into, but Chili chocolate, huh? Yeah, I've tried a chili chocolate. I've tried a chocolate covered potato too, and that was kind of interesting. Yeah, so just trying to go through and quickly get this down to a spot where I can feel like it's workable. And it's definitely getting a lot lower. I mean, it was up in like 2.5 million points, and now it's down to almost a million here in just a minute. It's really, like, I love this tool, just how quick and easy it is to use. I've used it a ton in being able to sculpt little toys. I've been able to use it just in, sculpt sketching, just really fun. Really, really fun. Yeah, that's what I actually haven't played with yet. Let's play with that some. That's a good idea actually. Rethon. Let's play with that some. Polygon size. Yeah, we'll see what it does. Yeah, you gotta see this to appreciate it. Yeah, you see that? That's what you're doing to me. It's okay. It does the quick save, so let's start it back up and see what it does. Hey, at least I got chocolate right. Yeah. Don't eat the reference. Oh. Recovered tool. Don't even worry about it. In fact, here, I'll do it again. Except this time I'm going to clone it out. Work on it by itself. Because I want to see this work. Nope. Oh, I think I know what you're talking about there. So what you're referring to, let me pull this open. Okay, so what you're referring to is that when you right click, it bothers you that this menu is pulled up, right? My Russian friend. It bothers you to have that right mouse button opening that, right? So I think that there might be a way to be able to change that within your preferences or within your but I mean, I wouldn't know exactly how to do that. You might be able to go to Twitter and ask that question using the hashtag #AskZBrush, and then Joseph Drust will go through and it'll answer it for me. So slime, welcome. The thing that I'm working on right now is I'm creating an environment with kind of a Candyland based theme. I don't know if you're familiar with the old board game, kind of like this little guy that I've got beneath me. But yeah, I'm just going through and trying to, oops, this is what I want to do. Okay, trying to come over here and yeah, we should be good. First thing I want to do is I want to make this tree maybe as much as like twice the size, but I also want to change the way that it's sitting on the mountain. I want it to lean kind of away from the mountain. So we're going to kind of play with placement a little bit and shape. I want to make sure that this is creating a different slope, and we'll have to adjust the little puffs on top. Never-ending story. How you doing, Amir? Good to see you. Yeah, so right now I've got my tree selected, so I'm just gonna use some cool, oh, come on, with my gizmo selected. Actually, let's go ahead and we'll use the transpose line because I know that one works. So hold control, click and drag. Why won't it work? It doesn't seem to like to work anymore. There we go. That's what I wanted. So by holding control and clicking and dragging, it'll go through and it'll do like kind of a smart masking to kind of mask around that spot. ZBrush is on strike. It definitely is. No, but that's really cool about the scan data. I mean, there's so much you can do with it. Like at work, we use it a lot to be able to create rock work for the rides at Disneyland and things. Really, really, really neat. We also use it for being able to create the ride vehicles and all sorts of stuff. I mean, it's really, really cool. It's one of those things that, you know, I wish I could go through and just like take everybody through, show you what it's like, because it is super neat. I geek out every time I get to see updates and things like that, just because, you know, it's neat. It's really, really neat, and it's really satisfying to see work that I've been doing going into application like that, you know. Yeah. So mine's actually been like really cheap 3D scan that I've done personally. I haven't actually done any 3D scan professionally. I don't know what kind of scanners they use at work. The kinds of scanning that I've done personally has been using just my phone. It's kind of cool. You can get some apps to be able to do some photogrammetry on your phone using just, you know, pictures that you take walking around an object and whatnot, which I'm sure you probably knew, but yeah, somebody else might not have. In fact, I've actually gone through and done 3D scans of my kids, and I hope to be able to clean those scans up and use them at some point, you know, just for something fun. Always while they're sleeping, because that's the only time that they'll sit still long enough for me to do anything like that. But yeah, photogrammetry, yeah, just with my phone. But at work they have real scanners. But yeah, I'll have to see if I can ask what kind of scanner they use, just in case next time you're around, you ask. I can hopefully have an answer to tell you, something to say. Come here. There we go. Cool. Yeah, there's I'm trying to remember. Well, it was like when I was at DreamWorks, they had a scanner for a while there, and when I tried to figure out where it was so that I could use it, it's like it was never available. Or like it was there and then it just wasn't there, and then, you know, whatever. So I eventually just gave up and stopped worrying about it. It wasn't a big deal. I mean, it's not something that I absolutely need. I can sculpt what I need if I need a portrait of myself. I'd much rather have to have a scan so that I don't have to sculpt all the details. But I may go through and do that at some point, because one of the skills that I'd like to get better at is creating likeness in my sculpts. I want to get to the point someday of being as good as people like Vimal Kakara and Hussein Diba. Both are just phenomenally brilliant sculptors, insanely talented and very gifted with likeness. I love their work. If you're not familiar with them, you need to go and find them and give them all the love. Hussein Diba and Vimal Kerketa. Okay. So now that I've got that, let's grab the tree foliage stuff. And we are going to go like this with the rotate. We're going to rotate that a little bit. And I'm going to use move and just kind of have that pivot a little bit. Making bits to fit existing real-world models, so it's handy for getting size and low detail in Model 2. Okay. So let me respond to that. Okay. And I can pull it up to show you what if you've been around the ZBrush culture for long, you'll be familiar with these guys' work. Okay, Vimal, totally super talented guy, good friend of mine, really brilliant, living over in the UK right now, I think somewhere in London. Yeah, London, UK. How about that? My memory serves me all right sometimes. But brilliant with likenesses. You can tell immediately who it is that he's sculpting, unless, you know, you're like me and you're just not very well versed with some of these people. Like, I have no idea who this is. just because I just don't know who it is. Same with this guy, this person right here, but they look right, you know. Brilliant, brilliant artist. But we got the Beatles down here. We got John Lennon, Paul McCartney. We've got Luke Cage. We got all sorts of just phenomenally beautifully sculpted people. So that's Vimal. Okay. Yeah, I actually haven't seen Lord of Game of Thrones. So this is one of the latest that Hussein's posted up, but it's really, really fun. He's another one of my favorites though. He did Pacquiao, and I mean it's just brilliant. It's just brilliant. Carrie Fisher, very beautifully sculpted, is Kanye West. Some of my favorites that he does though are these that are his WWE sculpts. Yeah, they're fantastic references. You go through and you look at them because I mean they're all in grayscale, and so you can see the way that it's sculpted. You can see the form, and any color isn't really going to affect how you see this, whether it's skin tone or the reds or the blues or whatever it's going into it. The character itself has these just gray tones, very lifelike, very, very nicely sculpted. So yeah, those are some of my favorites to go through and look at. Oh man, my science he's just brilliant. I have no idea how he does it all. Some of these, I mean, so like here's this Sasha Banks. She's one of my favorites that he's done. Very beautifully done, and handled the pose and everything just super, super nicely. Let's see if we can get a good close up on the hair. Yeah, it's close enough. But yeah, I mean, he just goes through and he just does it little by little. I think he might have a video somewhere where he goes through and shows a time lapse of creating the fiber mesh. So that'll be worth looking up. Yeah. How are you doing? Oh my goodness. How you doing, Louisa? All right. So, to jump back into this, just gonna kind of pull this around. Yeah, I super, super recommend those people though. Hossein, Diba, and Vimal Karkara. Each are super, super talented, and you'll learn a ton from each of them. I know I always do. Okay. What do you mean it's good to see me here, Luisa? It's good to see you here. Doing your research. Luisa is one of my students for Vancouver Animation School. I teach classes online through the Vancouver Animation School, and she's one of the unfortunate souls that gets to sit through me 2 hours a week, well, 4 hours a week, something like that, however long it ends up going. She's doing a really good job. My art station. Oh my goodness, you don't want to know my art station. No, I'm just kidding. So yeah, actually, if you look down at the bottom, you'll see kind of my social media profiles. You can look me up underneath Smartest. The one that I'm most active on is the Instagram, SMA artist. So I can pull something up if you'd like. Okay, actually I don't need studio mode on. Okay, sweet. So my profile. So yeah, this is me. Okay, I like to have fun. I like to, mostly because like all my work, my professional work, is all dealing with environments and environment related stuff. I like to focus a lot of my personal work on characters. I do a lot of freelance where it involves, character or creature work, and so I like to go through and play with some of that too. I like to have fun. But yeah. So yeah, if you go to artstation.com/smartest, that should work. If it doesn't work, then look it up. Sorry. Okay. So I think that this is working a lot better for me in terms of proportion and scale. So what I'm going to do, let's save this. We're gonna call it something else. We're just gonna call it Candyland 06. Actually, we're gonna put it 05 because that's the week that we're on right now. Pucha la cosa. Okay, there it goes. Okay. You like that, Rhino? There are any Mark Brunette-esque tutorial series for environment art out there? I've always wanted to get into environment work, but I haven't found a good resource to help me really get into it. Mark Brunette. You know what? I'm not familiar with him. I might have to go through and look at his stuff. Oh, okay. He's this guy. There might be. So Mark Brunette has his stuff on ZBrush. Right, like you're saying there, Tay. So I think that maybe check ZBrush. Make sure that when you look up tutorials and things like that, that you try to look into. Yeah, he's so recognizable because of this guy. But yeah, make sure that when you do go through and try to look up tutorials, especially tutorials for purchase, that you look at the trailer, you look at kind of what it is that their end result is, so you can decide whether or not that's worth your time, your money, things like that. Because I mean, I've gotten tutorials before where I've gotten partway through it, and not even very far into it, and it just felt like it was already a waste of time. Like I'd figure out more by myself, or by looking up small videos on YouTube or whatever. But yeah, so definitely look into. Yeah, maybe he follows individuals on ZBrush or whatnot. That would be useful. So try looking into those sorts of things. That could be good. A ver. Ooh, you should tell me. You should tell me what the XGen tutorial was that you got there, Tay, because XGen is something that I tried getting into not too long ago, and my goodness, it was not wanting to work for me. It was causing all sorts of unhappiness. It was like, oh, you want to try to get something done, huh? And I was like, yes, please. Adam Scutt, okay. Yeah, Adam's good. He's a good resource. And that was for the X-Gen, right? Yeah, X-Gen. Okay. Tear your hair out and then like stick it to your model. All right. Well, we had two things on my Instagram feed that I put up a poll on my Instagram yesterday afternoon to try to figure out what people would like to work on. Oh, that's not what I clicked on. For tonight. So, in fact, let's it was funny. Okay, so it started off like this. Okay, let's see if we can get it to focus in on this. Okay, so I asked between the Oreo and the terrain, who would like to see what gets sculpted? And the Oreo won by 1 vote. Okay, now what happened next was really kind of funny. There's a little bit of a change in opinion. And it was still close. I mean, it was still like by just a few votes. Okay, but this was up several votes later. So, and then one of my friends responded. His name is Ronnie. Responded and said, maybe do an Oreo terrain. I thought it was kind of funny. So I don't know. We'll have to see. I might have to do some sort of like crumbly Oreo sort of. Hey, Dynamic, how you doing? What do I think of mobile designers? They're brilliant. They definitely have to be thinking in a very different way than most everybody else, but yeah. Okay, so a lot of what I want to go through and do. Let's come over here because I don't need this. I'm just going to hit initialize. I'm going to say Q cube, but I'm going to take this resolution down. This is a really cool tool. So watch what happens. I'm going to hit Q cube. You see it became this teeny little cube. Okay. So what I want to do, I'm just going to come navigate over to this. Okay. Hit Shift P to get rid of my floor, but this just helps me to, hitting Shift P or turning on your floor just really kind of helps you understand which way is up, which way is left, right, that sort of thing. One of the things I want to do is I want to make a gumdrop. Okay, so I'm going to crease edge loop. Yeah, just say edge. Make sure I have my symmetry turned on. Is it on? Yeah, it's on. Okay. Crease, crease, crease. Okay, so now when I look at this, you can see I'm getting the very rough shape of a of a gumdrop. So I'm just going to hit Control D once. Okay, that gives me 1 subdivision level. I'm going to get rid of that subdivision level, and I want to come down to crease, uncrease all, and that's too rounded. Let's turn on my dynamic subdivision level. Let's see what we can do playing around with this. So with crease open, I'm going to take this crease level. I'm going to take it down to let's take it down to 1, and we'll take our smooth level up to 2. Okay, so you see it now. We're starting to get a little bit more of that gumdrop sort of shape. Okay, I think I have a better idea though. Let's do something like this. Let's say bevel, polygroup island. Let me see. For some reason, it's like it's wanting to add an extra bevel going through the middle. I don't want that. Darn it. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to add insert, single edge loop. We're just going to add it right about there. Now for this polygroup on the bottom here, I'm going to come down, I'm going to hit scale, polygroup island, okay, to, yeah, mesh center, that's fine. Okay, so you can, oh, let's turn on local symmetry. That way it's polygon center. There we go. That's what we want. Papa's happy now. Okay, so now we're just kind of going through and playing with the shape to figure out how we want this to look as a, you know, for a gumdrop. Okay, let's turn off perspective. I don't need perspective on. Okay, let's get that in the middle there. It's interesting to me that it's over here instead of, yeah, I don't know, instead of being like in the center. Okay. Okay, so let me see, to be able to make this feel like it's less square, I want to take these corners and scale them inward. Okay, so now to be able to do that, I can use my scale. Okay, I'm going to hold Alt and hit that rotate button there just to make sure that it's reset to the straight up and down. If I just use this scale button regularly, it's going to scale it up and down. But if I start scaling and then I hold Alt, it's going to scale in every direction except that direction. Okay, so now I can come over here, let's say, and check it. Okay, something like that. That's looking pretty good. Okay, so now the idea behind this is really just to create some sort of gumdrop. Okay, and actually maybe let's leave it about yay high. I think I like the idea of having it taller, because what I want to do is I want to take this gumdrop and make it an insert mesh brush. Let's delete lower, delete higher. Okay. Let's uncrease all. But yeah, so by turning this into an insert mesh brush, if I have it at a height taller than I want, I can use my Z intensity on the brush to make it squishier or taller, you know, whatever. Well, not taller, but you know, squishier within that height limit. So I'm going to come over here and let's say brush. We're going to say create insert mesh new. Oh, they called it recovered tool. I don't want it to be recovered tool. Let's just call it gumdrop. So now we can come over to create, and we can say create insert mesh. We can say append, say OK. So now we have it in this brush. Now this other mesh, we can just come over here and we can just delete it. Okay. So now we have this nice simple insert mesh gumdrop. Okay, so now here's where it starts to get kind of cool. So I want to use this on this mesh. For some reason it is drawing out. Oh, because I was not looking at it straight up and down when I created it. Okay, now that'll be better. Okay, now I can delete that one. And now I can come over here and I can start to drag it out. That was a stupid mistake, but you know, it happens. It happens. Okay, so I'm just gonna make this the size that I want the diameter of those to be. And then I'm gonna make the Z intensity, maybe we'll go for like 75 just to test it out. I'm gonna click and drag it out, and I'm gonna hold Control after I do that. And you can see it's already giving me, you know, kind of a squishy gumdrop. It's a little bit too low, so I'll probably boost it up a little bit. Now, what else can I do with this? Yeah, maybe if I wanted to, I could do a gumdrop with sprinkles. Gumdrop sprinkles. Okay. So I can say, let's turn off symmetry. And actually, let's use a different brush. Let's use the insert mesh, the simple primitives. And actually, I'm going to want to use something. Let's do this. Let's do this. Purely for the sake of, yeah, something similar to the Jujuba. Let's come over here. Let's say reconstruct subdivision. Okay. I'm going to say solo. Turn off dynamic. Okay. Now the reason why I want this piece is because I want to be able to put little like white. Let me see if I can find a good example of these gumdrops. Gumdrops with sprinkles. I don't know that I'll find a good image for what it is that I'm thinking, but it kind of has it. These, so I mean, we have our typical gumdrops, very standard, very yeah, typical. We get, so I'm thinking like something kind of like this bunny right here, how it has like these funny little things on top. I've seen, oh, here we go. Something like this, but with a gumdrop. Okay, so that's kind of the idea that I have in my head. So now what I want to do is I want to create a gumdrop that has that. Okay, so delete higher. And let's go, oh, no, actually I'm going to want to make sure that I'm on this level. Let's go back to this insert mesh. We got to title this, say, sprinkle. Brush. I'm going to say append. Okay. And now the gumdrop with sprinkles. I can just come along here, make the size of the sprinkles whatever I want. Hold Control. And then also look, this isn't quite going in all the way as much as I'd like. This is true. You can also turn on the projection strength. That's not going to be super necessary for this particular piece, but if you're doing something like a logo or anything like that, it'll definitely be helpful. So what Rethon's talking about is in here underneath the modifiers. You can come down, there's this projection strength, you can turn that all the way up, or you know, somewhere in between, depending on what you're trying to do. What I want to do is actually come over here to depth, and I just want to make it so that it's embedded. Okay, so now we're getting this sprinkle, and it's on the surface, you know. It's actually like way too shallow, so I'm going to take this, maybe turn it up to like 50. That's way better. So I'm just kind of trying to randomly place these. Trying to get something like that. All the work is done on mobile. Let's check that out. So is this a graphic design portfolio, or is this somebody's 3D work? That's some very beautiful design work. I wonder how much of this was done inside of ZBrush. You can go through and do these sorts of things inside of ZBrush, like from the movie Pixel. It's kind of fun. You can make things like that inside of ZBrush, and it's really, really cool. You could do, yeah, you have all sorts of different techniques of things that you can do to be able to play with your brushes and whatnot. For this is kind of all that I needed. And I might be able to go ahead and do a different version too. But for right now, there's this one. Let's actually _01. Okay, let's go ahead and say brush, create, insert mesh, append, skip until next start, just because I'm sick of seeing this. For the sprinkle, let's go ahead and actually delete that mesh, and let's re-add it after now that it's been append. Now that it's got the dynamic turned on. Okay, so should we also tweak the curves on array mesh? You could. Let's do something like this, where we're going to actually, let's we're going to go like this, and then we're going to, so what I did is I hold Control Shift, and then I tap on one of the polygroups of the mesh I want to keep, and Control Shift A to be able to make that whole singular piece visible. And now I can come down, modify topology, delete hidden, get rid of those versions of sprinkles. So now I've got this one with sprinkles, and now I can do something different on this one. Nerds. I went through, I forgot to modify the depth on this one again. I think something like that's what I had. Yeah, that looks about right. I want this one to be much more covered. One of the other things you can do is you can use nano mesh, you can use micro mesh. Nano mesh is probably more useful for something like this, as it's more aimed at populating surfaces. whereas micromesh is more aimed at creating surfaces. Curious if there's a good way of creating geomorphs. You use like booleans. Those are these those are those like game tiles for like Warhammer sort of things, right? You have to forgive me, I'm a little uncultured so far as those sorts of things go. Did anybody watch Ashley Adams' stream before this? Earlier today? I look like Elon Musk. Yeah, whatever. If I looked like Elon Musk, I'd have a slightly better backdrop. Although I do want to get into robotics and engineering and stuff like that. So Alright, so now we've got, in fact, let's redo this one again, just because we don't really, I want it to be at the end of my list, so let's just make sure that it's there. Okay, cool. So now we have gumdrop with sprinkles, gumdrop with lots of sprinkles. Yeah, 3D printed prosthetics, I thought about that too. Oh, there was this really cool video that I saw the other day where some people at Lego, what kind of car was it? It was a supercar. And it was so cool. They went through and used just the Lego Technic pieces, and they built an entirely functioning sports car. It was phenomenal. Okay. So, part of my idea for right now, oh, not that piece. And we definitely don't want it to be that shallow, so let's take it up to like 85. Let's put it at 85. Let's change the depth. How deep is this? How embedded is this? Like, I wish that I could go through and have it. Yeah, 'cause it's like, yeah, it's going to be an Oreo. Here's a trick. Here's a trick that you can use. So I want to have all of my, like, have a few gumdrops created, and I want to be able to place them around the area. Use them as kind of like a rock. So what I can do is I can hold control and I can click and drag. So now I've got this new piece. In fact, let's, before I do that, let's split unmasked. Now we'll come over here, hold control, drag that off, and now watch what happens. So I have my gizmo selected, my gizmo's active, okay. I'm going to come over, I'm going to select this other one. So now it's just generated this other gumdrop in that place. Okay, it hasn't gone through and paid any attention to like the embedding or the height or anything like that. So it's its own gumdrop, completely its own thing. But really cool. Really cool thing. The reason I wanted to split it before is just because I wanted to have the gumdrops as their own subtool. I just feel like it might make it easier to work with. Yeah, so let's... What time is it? Just trying to make sure that I don't lose track of time. Cool. Yeah, it's only 9:22. And I'm gonna eat some more chocolate. Oh man, you guys are gonna wish you were here. That's a lot of chocolate. Okay, so this is kind of an idea for like a peak where maybe little gingerbread monks will go up to to meditate. So I think actually this bridge is totally unnecessary. So we'll hide it for now and figure out the rest of all of this. Okay. So mask by feature, we're going to turn off groups increase, and we're just going to mask by border. And then I'm going to control and click in the empty space. Hold Alt to make sure that it's pointing directly up and down. We're just going to pull that down. Okay. Yes, Form 2 does use liquid resin, and it definitely costs more than filament. On your traditional like FDM type printer. My goodness, I'm trying to come over here and make sure that Toblerone. Yeah, so the this project is really just as like a concept. Oh, you know what? I ought to make sure that I don't lose this brush, so I'm going to save it before I do anything else. Let's save that as SMA Gumdrops. I don't have permission to modify files in this network location. I am the administrator. What do you mean I don't have? Yes, replace it. Okay. Pain in the butt. All right. Yeah. Well, and something else you can do to make your resin last when you're printing is to use or to hollow your models out. That's something that I do a ton of is hollowing things out, and people really tend to underestimate just how powerful that is. watch this, guys. Watch this, watch this. Boom. And then if I want to, I can just come over here and I can just say, boom. In fact, I don't wanna make it too much. Let's, oops. Boom. Okay. So this is just a really quick and easy technique to be able to block in some mountain chunks like that. Helps to be able to break up that silhouette, and it's just a really quick and easy way to be able to you know, just figure things out. The other thing that you can do, something else that I'll do really often, let's make this brush work for me. Okay, let's pull this shape out some. Just trying to make sure that this is broad enough for me to be able to work with. Okay. One of the other things that we can do is we can take our clip brushes. Whoa, it's funny. So yeah, 28 millimeters, yeah, there's not much opportunity to hollow things out, so that's probably just fine. Yeah. Okay, so what I'm going to do, Control Shift, I'm going to come up and I'm going to select this clip curve. And this works by drawing out a line, holding Control and Shift. That gradient side, that's the side that's going to get clipped to the little dotted line. So what I want to do is I want to click and drag this here. You can kind of change the angles. If you let go of Shift, you can change those angles freely. I'm going to come over here, I'm going to hit Alt twice, 1, 2. You can see I get this sharp angle, and I let go and it clips it down to that shape. I can come in, I can do this 1, 2, 1, 2. You just kind of get rid of little chunks here and there. 1, 2. Come at the other angle. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. If you hold spacebar, it'll let you kind of move it around. Okay, so 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Let's try something like that. I'll probably go back and forth between having things visible and invisible, having this soloed out some so that I can get a better sense for what it is that I'm trying to find with it. 1, 2. Okay, so you can see that and how that's working. Let's call this one fairly simple. 1, 2, 1, 2. We'll just play with that some. We're just trimming it up and kind of making this shape work the way that we want it to. 1, 2. 1, 2. We'll just kind of cut that out or something. This is a great way to just kind of get a start on rock bases. It doesn't always work perfectly, but it'll work pretty well. And you can kind of move things around. It's all about the concept. How do we all feel about Adobe buying Substance? Yeah, it's tricky. It's not something that I'll worry about addressing here. Because almost like I get Substance through Steam. So it's still a full license. It's just not something like when they upgrade to the next year license. I can only get the latest 2018 version, and that's it. And I also do my Creative Cloud subscription annually through Adobe. I'm nervous about my Creative Cloud subscription getting more expensive because I use it a ton. Okay. Oh, come on, you. I do a lot with my Adobe subscription, so it's not something that I feel like I would be opposed to. The thing that I'm worried about is that it'll get really, really expensive. Yeah, look at that. That drives me nuts. Okay, so essentially I just need to flip a single poly. Flip, 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 flip. And now we're good. It happens too often. Don't know why it happens. I think it's just a weird glitch with the Sculptress mode, but whatever. But by having it as part of the Creative Cloud, you know, I hope that it won't be detrimental to the development of the software. And I also hope that that my prices don't skyrocket. I wonder if I'll get any kind of special deal for having for already having the software or something. That'd be pretty nice. Okay, let's work on that Oreo a little bit. Just because I feel like that could be kind of fun. Okay, so placement on this is not in any way final, so let's figure out really quickly. Let's get it first back to the center. So I'm just going to say center at 0, 0, 0. Then we're going to say solo, solo. Okay, take that, move that over in there. Candyland 5, save, replace it, yes. Okay. So right now, this is all this is. Really, really simple. Okay. I want to do a couple different things with it. I want to have it be a real sandwich cookie. You know, because at some point I'm going to want to use surface noise to make it look like I've got frosting, like I've got, you know, like the air from the cookie. No, so I don't like Blender. I stay away from Blender. I use ZBrush, which is what I'm using right now, and then I also use Maya. Yes, I definitely watched The Neverending Story. Never finished it though, it was too long. Okay, let me see. I'm going to say subtool split hidden. Say polygroups, auto groups. We're going to come over here, we're going to say close convex hole. We're going to say polygroup flat, resolution of 1. Okay. That should be good. Okay, so we're going to close that off. Oops, come on. No. There we go. And just to make sure that I've got this whole thing the same color and the same material. Let's go color, fill object. Chocolate Mountain Rock Biter. Oh, poor Danimators. You should feel left out for using Modo. Just kidding, it's okay. We don't discriminate here. You are just as welcome. Actually, I have a lot of friends that use Modo, like Dylan Ekron. Dylan Ekron uses Modo. More chocolate. The top of that tree is actually meant to be candy floss. So that'll be fun when I get that looking right. Right here, what I could do is I just hit collapse hole. You know what? Let's hit C just to make sure we've got that. Now we can collapse that. Oh, I thought for sure it would keep the color. I guess it didn't want to. Okay. So do the same thing. We'll color fill object. Okay. So now we've got the cream and we've got the cookie. Let's title this Oreo cream. Yeah, here in the States, candy floss will come in blue, pink, yellow, green, really kind of just any color that that fits the project. Okay, so for this, I have an idea of what I'd like to do. Okay, so let's do this really quick. I need to duplicate this. And then this is going to get messy. Okay, so I'm going to, let's turn off the first one. Okay, we're gonna, yeah, let's come over here. Let's Control D a couple of times. Actually, let's just really super smooth it out. Okay. I mean, the curvature is not going to be quite right, but that's fine. I mean, for this piece, it doesn't matter as much. What I want to do is I want to come over here, hit Dynamesh. We're just going to hit no. I don't want to freeze my levels. And since we're in the middle of our scene, I'm going to turn on radial symmetry, and we're going to play a little bit with sculpting in radial fashion. This is like way dense. Okay, let's try turning on my symmetry first. Okay, radial in the Y. Let's change it up to something like 16. I think that'll work. Look at that. I love radial symmetry, guys. Look at that. This stinking thing has almost 3.5 million polygons. And you know what? I only need half of it. So I'm going to do this. Modify topology, delete hidden. Okay, so now I've got just a little over 1 million polys. Let's get this to be a lot lower. Okay. Yeah, we'll go down a little. Let's just really make this kind of low. On the bottom we don't need a whole lot of resolution. On the top we will, but I mean we'll have it res up as we need to. Hey, it's good to have you around, Rethon. So thanks for coming by. Rethon's one of the few faithful and the proud, the always there, and really supportive, and I very much appreciate it. Okay, so here's what I want to do. I want to pull out my clay buildup, and I want to start thinking about 3 million polygons and the fan kicks on. Yep. Let's start thinking about more or less what this pattern is going to be. I'll let this be just kind of like a sketched in sort of edge line. But let me see if I can find... I don't want it to look just like an Oreo. Did you guys see that? The most stuffed. That's ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. Okay, let's open that up. Okay, so they've got this kind of cross pattern on there. But I want something that might be more that better identifies with me. So let me see, what could I do? Let's do, I kind of want to put something like that. And then maybe what I could do, let's see, let's try doing something like that. I kind of like that. What are you guys thinking about it so far? Let's see. Let's change. I want to keep my radial count at multiples of 16. So I'm going to take it down to 8. Take it down to half. Okay. Which actually might be too many for what I think I'm wanting to do here. Let's try this. Let's try this. Yeah, so one of the tricks that I think of for radial symmetry is just always thinking of, one, the direction that you're wanting it to go in. So I'm using Y because I'm going around that Y-axis. And then the number, making sure that that's consistent with something that you want it to be. So I'm gonna take it down to 4, just to be able to kind of, again, keep it consistent. So I'm going to take it and do something like this in the center, and then we'll add, oops, something like that. And then I can come in here, oops, let's actually change to Damien Standard. Okay. That didn't quite go as I was hoping, but yeah, we'll fix it. Okay. Yeah, I am I am self-taught. It's kind of a funny thing to go through and talk about, but yeah. Oh, so one of the things I do want to add in is like the ridges that go along the outside. So to do that, I'm going to want to come back up to transform. Let's turn our radial symmetry up to 32. Let's try 64. Kind of looks like a little, like, Mexican cookie or something. It's really kind of pretty. It makes me almost want to go through and eat it. You know? Okay, let's take this Oreo. Let's turn on our dynamic subdivisions there. Actually, so let me see. I don't like how this is looking, and I don't like these little circle beads right here. So let's kind of eat away at that. Yeah, let's see if we can get something going on here. Let's actually try something like this. I want to use pinch. So if you're pinching on a peak, you're just going to use regular pinch. But if you're wanting to peak or pinch this center area down in here, these valleys, you're going to want to hold Alt. Oops, that got a little bit too powerful. I was thinking I might have to turn up the power a little bit, but it looks like I might be somewhat alright. Okay, that's looking pretty decent. How about that? Has anybody gotten to watch Punisher? It's funny because like I'm not typically into like blood, guts, and gore sort of shows, but yeah, very authentic, very just genuine. And let me see, how many did we have going around there? 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 16 going around there. But I super appreciate how well the characters are cast. There are a couple of characters I don't care for. Like there's the in the season 2, the blonde girl, whatever her real name actually is, I still can't figure it out. But I super appreciate the how authentic it feels, you know? So let me see. I'm actually going to want to make sure that this goes down past the frosting, with the reason being I want the frosting to look like it's, you know, part of the cookie. You know? So what I might have to do actually is like add an extra piece. Here's what we'll do. Let's do Control W, mask pen. Let's Control W so that we have these as different polygroups. Okay, and then what we can do is we can inset polygroup all, inset region, and then we can just come over here and we can just say QMesh polygroup all, and this way maybe, just maybe, okay, I need to make sure that it's enough that it goes up into that portion of the cookie. I want to be able to see it. Okay, I want to be able to see it. Let's turn off the stinking tree stuff. Okay, let's hit transparent again. Okay, that should be good. Trying to think, should I just in time for the Oreo. Glad to see you, Oscar. Trying to think, should I go through and make some holes in here? Let's say let's use clay buildup for now. I don't want to have one between every one of those holes. Let's try it with 8 and see what this does. We're gonna come over here. Let's say okay, so that way it kind of feels like it's got the frosting kind of coming up through it. That might be just a little bit too much. Yeah, that feels a little bit better. Okay, now what's cool is that we should be able to go through and take something like this, and you know, once it's done, once it's in scene, in its position, I'll be able to go ahead and take the cookie and add damage. And I'll be able to add damage using things. I could use booleans. I could use really anything. Sculptress. There are all sorts of ways to go about it. I could do a combination of things, and we'll probably end up doing a combination of things. Here's what I want to do though with this cookie top. I want to take it and let's say transform, turn off radial. You can see I've got my symmetry turned on in the Y direction. So what I want to do, let's come over to geometry, mirror and weld. I want to change this from X to Y. And now we've got the same cookie on both sides. Brilliant! I am like all about those sorts of little shortcuts and things. So, so if you don't know me by now, you will. Okay, so now to be able to keep these pieces, va-va-voom. To be able to keep these pieces in the shape and at the elevation that I have them, I'm going to go to geometry, crease, and since I have everything in different polygroups, like the edge of the frosting where we see it between the cookie sandwich, I want to say crease PG. We have this polygroup, we have that polygroup going up, and polygroup for the flat level frosting that's kind of penetrating those holes. So now when I go ahead and I turn on my dynamic, it's going to have a nice roundness. What I want to do though, let's play with this a little bit. I don't want it to be perfectly sharp right there. I do want it to kind of keep a little bit more of a roundness kind of coming up to that. Ooh, I'm going to need to, let's do this. I just need to make sure this is too many pieces. Need to make sure this is going up and it's really fitting in where I need it. And that should still work fine with where it's coming through the holes too. Cool. We made gumdrops too, Oscar, just in case you were, just in case you thought that this stream couldn't get any sweeter. I'll have to actually take this Oreo over into Keyshot and do a render in Keyshot. See if I can make it look real. Real. In fact, I might even be able to get a better looking Oreo through ZBrush. I don't know. We'd have to see. Okay, so let's go ahead. Let's take this now. Turn on my pizza boxes. Nerds. Okay. 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 So far, the only thing that I know, I tried to make it something unique and something special too, so that it's, so that I don't get sued. Okay, so let me see. Now I'm trying to think if that will be... I think that's not going to be big enough, guys. I need... let's get rid of some of these pieces, because we don't need these. Okay. Borrar. Okay. I don't need this piece either. Borrar. Okay. Montaña. El esqueleto. Here we go. These are our gumdrops. Okay, so I mean we're gonna keep these just as a way for being able to make sure that we have them, and we're gonna use them as a type of rock or something. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure that out. So okay, so eventually what this is going to end up being, let me go through and kind of do something like this. This is going to end up being this is going to end up being peppermint tree. Let's open that over here. Modifiers. Let's say okay, so now we're gonna go ahead, MRGB, color, fill object. So like the tricky thing with making this look like peppermint now is that in fact, maybe what we gotta do, flat subdivision levels. Thanks for dropping in, Tay. Let's come over here. Let's get some good red going. Don't want it to be perfectly saturated, perfectly bright. This is where it's going to get like tricky to paint it. Oh, good. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so let's change my focal shift to something really tight. Ooh. So this is something that I might have to go through and actually do like an actual texture on. Like do UV layouts. But essentially the idea is to have this, you know, come up and wrap around and you know, look like peppermint. Look like a candy cane. And then we could probably come in and we could do like a thinner line kind of going around it. Double stripe, you know? But essentially you'd have that going up all the way and all the way around and all that jazz. Doo-ba-doo-doo-doo-doo. And so once that's all done, you know, the idea is for it to feel like Candyland. That's definitely something that's going to need a little bit of development. But you know, it's something to play around with. In fact, what I might do, let's take this one, we'll say copy it, and now I want to save it. And we're just going to save it as hard candy matte. Something like that. And it's just a very basic. Give me a break. That's one of those weird things that pops up every once in a while. I don't know if anybody from Pixelogic is watching, but that'd be a good thing to fix at the next version, whatnot. Anyway, so yeah, you get these cool looking things. Let's jump back to the startup material. Okay, so with this cookie, if I can jump back to it, oh, looks like I might already have it selected. I do indeed have it selected. I don't need symmetry on. Okay, but what I do need is my pizza boxes. Let's hide that. Trying to figure out, I think that was too big. What if we were to have a stack of these Oreos kind of like coming down the side as if the chocolate over time had kind of melted and fused over the top of these cookies. I am going to try it. Let's try this. something like that. Let's see if it'll work. Nope, it didn't work. Okay, let me try coming back to this. So the thing that I'm going to have to do is I'm going to Control-Shift-D, be able to duplicate that, move it down. Control-Shift-D, move that down. And then I'll just hide these for now. Turn on my pizza boxes. And then we'll move these down. This could be getting interesting and complicated and fun all at the same time. I feel like this could be fun from the standpoint of then let's close this because this isn't necessary for me right now. Let's take this. Come on, yeah. Figure out how these pieces need to mesh. Okay. And then this will kind of feel like it's coming out over the top of this other Oreo, and then we'll have another piece that's kind of, you know, as it goes down the mountain, we'll have chunks missing from some of these Oreo pieces and whatnot. Okay, this is starting to get exciting, guys. Let's okay, let's take this. Say, ooh, that's not supposed to be painting. Okay, let's say maybe right here we can have something of a walking path, as if this is the way to get down the mountain. Let's see, something maybe like this. How does this work with the composition? Okay, so one of the things that I'm seeing, I definitely need to figure out how to offset, not figure out how, I know how to do it. I need to work out the alignment on this so that this isn't so even. Let's add that extra Oreo bit going in on that other side. Wreck-It Ralph is great reference. I should probably go through and pull some reference from there. But no, I haven't used Wreck-It Ralph as reference yet. Okay, Okay, so let's take this. I'm actually going to. Why is my document so small? Oh, it's because I had the. What's it called? The recovered document. It is what it is. You know? Control Shift D, Control Shift D. We're just gonna move this, and we're gonna move that. Let's turn this on. Okay, so now what I want to try figuring out. I'm liking that. Oh my gosh, guys, it's starting to come together. It's so funny. You guys are probably thinking, like, this goes so slowly. And you'd be right. It does. It definitely does. Okay, so what I'm doing right now is I'm loading my timeline. And what this will allow me to do is it'll allow me to save some camera views. So I'm going to go to Movie. I went down to Timeline. And I hit Show. You'll notice that it showed this right underneath, right above my my undo history. So what I can do now is if I just tap somewhere here in my timeline, it'll leave a little circle. So now I can kind of like, scrub through and it'll have that circle there. If I use my left and right arrows, it'll let me snap to these different views. So this will be view 1. Okay. Let's see if I have any other viewpoints that feel like they could be beneficial or appealing. Let's try taking one from right here. So we just tap on another point. You'll see we have another view over here. So again, using my left and right arrows, I can just go back and forth between these. The trick with these camera views is that they do not keep track of whether or not you had perspective turned on. You could turn perspective off, and it's going to be a little bit different. So keep that in mind. If it doesn't look exactly the same as how you saved it, try checking to make sure you have your perspective set to what you had it when you set it, So this might actually be a little bit too. Although I kind of liked how that was. So I think what I'm going to have to do is these peaks in here in the background. I'm going to want to take them and move them down a little bit just so that they're not creating that tangent with the tree. I'm going to want to do similar sort of work with this part. Let's kind of move this out. Originally, this was supposed to be like Brazilian desert. A la Candyland. And it just wasn't turning out to be something that I felt like was successfully coming out, so I just had to let it evolve. And I feel like as soon as I let it evolve, it started becoming something different. It started becoming something that I feel like I could be more passionate about, and that I feel like more people would be passionate about. So when you're designing environments, don't be afraid to let it evolve. If you're doing something from a concept and your boss needs it to be a specific way, then yeah, I mean what your boss says goes, and make it make it as it needs to be. If it's not what they want it to be, you know, if you get it to the end of the project and it doesn't look as good as it should have, then you know that's not on you. At least you did your part in doing your job. But if you go through and make too many changes to a concept, it's very easy for your boss to come through and say, you know, hey, we'd asked you for this isn't right, please change it, yada yada yada, right? And so when that happens, you better believe you're gonna have some change requests. Actually, let's put it right there. We'll kind of move it down some. Actually, let's do it like this. If I hold control, it'll kind of give me a little bit of a ledge. It'll do an extrude rather than a simple whatever, than a simple move. I'm going to keep this up a little bit over on this end, and then let's make this end go down some. Turn on my Sculptress mode. See if we can get this to give me some alright shapes. For those of you who were here earlier, Sculptress mode was seriously bogging down my machine, and it was terribly slow. Right now it seems like it's working really quite nicely. And it helps that my mesh is only at 200,000 polys, but yeah, just kind of a funny truth in working with this sort of stuff. Has anybody had ever had the opportunity to go to the ZBrush Summit? See, I gotta check this scale. I think that because of how I've changed this scale for the tree and for some of these other things, I think I want my scale to be just slightly larger. To Val, where which summit did you go to? This is me basing, you know, height and scale off of an average American male height, you know, like 6 foot tall. So for summits that I've been to this past one, 2018, where I presented with Zach Petrock, and then 2016, I competed in the live sculpt-off, and that was awesome. That was a thrill. 2014, okay. That's 2 years before my first one. To Val. Who are you, buddy? Did you go? Where was that one at? That wasn't at Noman, right? That year was at, or was it? Seemed like they did one at like the like Burbank Conference Center or something like that at one point. Are you here local? Okay, let me see. Let's get one of these. One of these. Okay, let's take this. Yeah, Burbank, that's what I thought. From San Francisco, huh? Such a drive. I've only been to San Francisco once. Let me see. Let's go ahead and turn that off. Let's go ahead and let's break into this. Okay, wrong piece. This is what I want. I do like to use alphas. It depends on what it is that I'm sculpting though. So like for instance these, so alphas often they'll cause trouble if you're using sculptress mode. Depends on what you're doing and how you're applying it. I really like to sculpt. I like to sculpt things by hand. But quite often, yeah, so yeah, I mean, I'll go through and I'll sculpt a lot of things by hand. Has nobody else used ZModeler to sculpt anything, to make anything? I mean, I used it to be able to make the Oreo, the Oreo base, and then I also used it to make the tree. Well, and I guess the gumdrops. But has nobody else used ZModeler? Okay, I'm just going to kind of mask that out. And let's using ZModeler for sculpting. It's a really powerful tool. A lot of people will call it box modeling because it's very similar. And in fact, I'll often refer to it as box modeling. But if you wanted to be able to see ways that I have applied it in this project so far, you can easily go back to, Well, you could go back to the beginning of this week's live stream, and you kind of check out what it is that we did. Oh, dude, that's looking pretty cool, Amir. Made the crown of Z Modeler. Yeah, that looks great, dude. Nice and crisp, great shapes. Really, really like that. Did you do those lip rings with the same thing? And the bracelets using Z Modeler as well? That looks great. What time is it? I like don't keep track of time at all when I'm doing this. It's already 10:30. I'm turning into such an old man, like. Okay, so now that we're getting this sort of stuff in, these kind of like crunch. So some of the things that you can use, if you do like to use alphas, some of the things that you can use include things like the orb brushes, ORB. I'm just going to kind of sculpt this in by hand. It's not really a huge deal. Just trying to have some fun with sculpting for a little bit. It's one of the things I really, really enjoy about ZBrush is just how fun it is to do these sorts of things. Now, one of the cool things that you could do is you could use, I mean, I'd have to load the brushes. I don't think I have them in here. Brush presets, orb, rubble, rock noise. I think that's the one I'm going to want. Rock detail. It looks like I have duplicates of these. So let's open up rock detail. Load that in. Good to see you, Luisa. Have fun with your sculpt. Okay, so when I'm having a drag rectangle alpha, I want to turn off my sculptress mode. I want to make sure I'm on the right subtool. Oh, let's turn up my intensity. So you can see it's starting to give me some sculpted detail. So it's just a way to be able to get some of this cookie crunch kind of blocked in, and I can kind of smooth this down. You make it so that it's not coming through the cookie. And there we go. Che hermano, ¿qué tal? ¿Qué te pasa, loco? ¿Qué tal en el Landia de Australia? Yeah. Necesita una computadora como la tuya. And the cookie. Oh, thanks, dude. Yeah, I'm starting to kind of block in the environment. It's starting to get to a point where I'm really liking how it's looking. Oh, you know what? That cookie's a little bit lower than I want. Yeah, that just, it happens. It happens. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my gizmo. Let's move it up a little bit. Let's, oops. We are going to want... Aiba. Aiba. Okay. Something like that, maybe. Let's turn that off. Thanks, man. No, this is so much fun, just trying to go through and figure this sort of stuff out. Figure out what it is really that I want to do with it. And it may even mean that I need to go in here. Let's try this. I may need to come in here with my slice, not my slice, the trim. There we go, trim. So same technique with the trim as with the curve, the clip curve. You just come in here and it's that gradient side that's going to get cut. It's supposed to cut. Supposed to cut. It's okay. I mean, I kind of want to undo it anyway. Let me turn off the lines to show you what happened. So you can see it went through and it created a new poly group. It's helpful. It's really helpful. Sometimes it doesn't do what it's supposed to do. The trim is supposed to go through and actually slice it off. Slice is supposed to go through and give you, in essence, it's supposed to give you new poly groups. And so, yeah, that's just kind of one of the tricky things. With this is getting it to give you what you're wanting to get out of it. Hey, thanks, man. Love the fish bot. Yeah, I love the fish bot too. I am actually planning on doing a tutorial series that I'm hoping to release later this year. I'm just going to use slice curve because it's not giving me what I want. Where I'll be doing a hog bot. It looks cool as a green Oreo. It looks unhealthy as a green Oreo. Good night. Is it working? Is it actually going to do something? Okay, so it does. Let's try that again. It still didn't do it. Ah, what a butt. Okay, so I guess just the way that we can do it, we can go in, we can use booleans, or what I'll probably end up doing is just using my clay buildup with the sculptress mode turned on, and we're just going to eat away at this until really it doesn't exist in wherever we want the Oreo to actually be missing. Okay, so because I really kind of want to get this to be, And you know what? Let's keep this version, just because nothing wrong with that, right? And then we'll take this one up. I'll hide that. What do I do that makes me feel good? Like I'm good as an artist. Oh, so what do you feel makes you good at what you do as an artist? I feel like in large part what makes me feel like I'm doing well as an artist is that I'm always trying to learn, I'm always trying to grow, I'm always trying to develop. I don't like sitting still. I feel like if I'm sitting still, I'm not progressing. So one of the hard things is that as an artist, especially in entertainment, you have to be maintaining your competitive edge. You always have to be working and trying to get better and networking and everything like that. And that'll help in making sure that you're progressing. It is a cookie. This particular one is supposed to look like it's got some crunch taken out of it. But some of the big things is just that, you know, if you're not networking, if you're not learning and growing, you know, somebody else is going to come in and probably take your job, or you'll just get let go because you're not doing enough to be able to, or you're not performing enough to be able to fill the company needs, whoever you're working for, whether that's a client for freelance, or whether that's, you know, a big studio like Warner Brothers or DreamWorks or Disney or Blur, or, you know, wherever it is that you're wanting to work, or wherever it is you're working. So that's kind of the big thing, is just, you make sure you're always working and learning, but to feel like you're really progressing, I feel like you can't just always work. It can't be the only thing you do. You have to have a life. I spend a lot of time going out with my family. I spend a lot of time with church responsibilities, or, you know, other things that people might feel are counterintuitive with being an artist in entertainment. And I don't know, seems to work. It helps me at least to feel like I'm happy and feel like I'm in a good place. Something that I'm always trying to figure out is, you know, learning how to observe better, or learning how to, you know, I like coming on and watching these streams. It's like people like Pablo Munoz, or like Ashley Adams. Like I was watching watching and listening to her earlier when she was streaming. Ana Carolina, Shane Olson. I try to watch and listen to people. Michael Pavlovich, dude, the dude's amazing. You know, and I recognize that I can't really compare with them. You know, like they are leagues ahead of me in so many different ways. And this is just from people that stream for Pixel Logic. You know, if I were to look at people that I work with, and I've got a friend named John McDonald. He's been doing work for Disney and for Hasbro for years, and we've been friends on Instagram for a good couple of years. You know, I just recently found out that he works for Disney too, and so we go and we get coffee or lunch occasionally, you know, and sit down and chat, and it's great. But he's leagues ahead of me. He's really, really super good. Self-doubt is common. Self-doubt is one of those things that you've always got to be fighting that. But you've also got to recognize that sometimes self-doubt comes in as a form of of you recognizing that you need to get better at something. So I wouldn't worry about pushing aside every critical thought, every bit of self-critique. Oh, it's a strawberry cream filled Oreo. Because it's also useful to be able to critique yourself, or to be able to find critique from others. So, you know, find ways to be able to do things like that. When you're trying to break into the industry, it's going to be hard. Even after you're already in the industry, it's hard. It's a hard industry. I'm not going to lie. It's a very hard industry. And getting yourself to a point, you want to get yourself to a point where you are skilled enough that that people ask you to come work for them. You know, plain and simple. That's the goal. That's something that you want. So when you're developing things for your portfolio, think about what this says about you. Think about how this is advertising, how you can fill a need at, you know, XYZ studio. Think about how this sells special skills and how this will allow you to be competitive. And I feel like as you ask those sorts of questions, the rest is easy. The rest is easy. Just go through and do the best you can. Ask for feedback. Accept it graciously. And then make whatever improvements you can. You'll always have, you know, critiques come in that aren't good, or that aren't helpful. But if it's a critique that's coming up time and again, yeah, you're definitely going to want to pay attention. And I got a little bit high right there. Okay, let's chew into this a little bit. Okay, so what I'm doing right now is I'm kind of doing like worn away edges versions of the same cookie. so that this way my cookies don't all look super pristine and beautiful. I want them to feel kind of rocky, you know. Oh, the whole scene. The whole scene is, it's meant to be kind of a Candyland sort of inspired environment, so everything's going to be eventually made out of some sort of sweet. Okay, so we're bringing in like a sandwich cookie Oreo type thing. The tree's going to have candy floss on the top of it. We're going to have gumdrops for rocks in certain areas. The this waterfall, I'm trying to decide what to do with that. Still not entirely sure, but still thinking about it. I'm thinking about possibly going in and adding in some sort of like licorice bamboo shoots or something like that. Could be kind of fun. Yeah, so a bite, not so much. Have you ever gotten like a packet of cookies, a packet of these biscuits, and they come and they've got like the edges broken off? That's kind of the impression that I want out of these. Okay, so now I can just kind of come in through here and then just kind of pull back some of these, some of this frosting. Let's turn on solo mode. Some of these areas, when it gets really thin like this and you're using sculptress mode, it's really easy to just come through here and hold shift and then just let it kind of disappear. You know, just let it eat itself away. It's one of those little bits that I super love about Sculptress Pro and some of these features that are in this version of ZBrush. 4R8 was great. I love 4R8, but this is so much better. Yeah, so this is my own project. It's something that I wanted to go through and kind of develop on my own. When I come through and figure out themes and topics for these sculpting sessions, I try to put polls up on my Instagram stories. So if you follow me on Instagram, you'll be able to really, there's a poll nearly every week. Today it was whether or not I should work on terrain or if I should work on the cookie. And the voting was really even. So I went ahead and did both. A friend of mine, Ronnie, works over at Hasbro. He responded and he said, Oreo terrain, you know, and yeah, it was funny. It was funny. So I was like, you know what? How can we do this? How can we make this happen for you, Ronnie? So this is kind of in part what it is that we're trying to add in over here is like how we can incorporate the Oreos into the land. Yeah, I mean, for now, I think this might be where we leave it. It's not too bad. definitely a lot to do, but it's starting to go somewhere. So, just as a recap, we talked about a lot of things. Yeah, so this is one of the angles I'm looking at for rendering. Is I'm trying to figure out kind of a good angle to be able to tell a story. So I mean, I'll probably pick a few different ones that feel like good story moments, but yeah, so far this is the kind of angle that I'm looking at because of, and I'm trying to cater my composition to that. If you have any suggestions, Pablo, I am like puras orejas. But yeah, trying to figure out how to make it feel like a storytelling composition. I'll still have to go through and play with some of these shapes and figure out really how to make this feel. You see, that's something like, I don't know, playing with it. If you guys haven't already, you should go and follow my brother Pablo. His handle is Pablander. Pablander. Super awesome. He's the ZBrush guides guy. Yeah, go give him a follow. He's very good at what he does. He has a lot of cool tutorials on his site. In fact, let's ZBrushGuides.com. So yeah, check this stuff out. He's awesome. He has a whole bunch of different resources, brushes, alphas, meshes, things that you can look at. Look at that. Here's different materials, tutorials, his ebooks, super fantastic. And they're things that I want to go through and learn from to be able to create really cool cool renders. I love this one about the comic style render. He went through and he did a little bit of a highlight on that sort of technique with his last stream. Okay, he's a great resource, really fantastic artist. I recommend going through, supporting him, and getting some of his knowledge into your libraries. It's fantastic. So yeah, go check him out. He was also part of the Sculpt Off, so he's worth following. Yeah. Yeah, but so far as that, I think that's kind of maybe the end of what I'm thinking I might do for tonight. I'm already like way past my my 10 o'clock time. I'm past my bedtime. I'm feeling like an old man. But my poor wife, she's like, she wants to go to bed. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Hit the hay. Metaphorically. Alright. Gonna call that good for right now. Yeah. Gonna call it good. Oops, let's see. Candyland. Cool. Save it, replace it. The other thing I want to do is I want to make sure that these views Yeah, so I've got my kind of, once it's done saving. Okay, so there's like my behind the view, and there's my front of the view. I want to make sure that I save these for next time, so I'm going to come back down to movie, timeline, hit save. I'm going to save views 2, because these other views, I think it's for a different document size. The nice thing about this timeline views is it'll go through and it'll keep in mind what your document size is. So let's go ahead and hit save, and yeah, pretty good, coming along good. You guys have been great. Thanks for coming and hanging out with an old man for a little while. Just kidding. But yes, thank you for coming and hanging out and having fun with me, and hopefully you had fun, and hopefully we can inspire each other as we move forward. So again, I'll be here again next week, Wednesday, 8 o'clock Pacific time, and I'll probably try to not go so long next time so that I don't run into your bedtime as well. But we'll have fun. So yeah, I'll talk to you next week, and happy ZBrushing.